Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I would like to explain what an erhu is. I've taken up playing the erhu. It's a Chinese instrument. The Chinese use it in a lot of the orchestras that they have. And I've taken up playing the erhu and I wanted to explain what an erhu is. So, this is the erhu, and it has two strings, an inner string and an outer string. The inner string is keyed to D, the outer string is keyed to A. It gets its name, erhu, because of the two strings. In the Chinese language, two is the word R. So you go yi, R, san, si, wu, liu, ji, ba, and so forth. So the number two is R, so for the two strings. And then the who, R, who, the two strings, who, well, who introduced the erhu to China about 1,000 years ago. Who is the family that introduced the erhu to the Chinese people about 1,000 years ago. And who really means the people. They could have been people that was traveling and they introduced the erhu to the Chinese people, or something along that line. The erhu originated pre-Mongolia. They figure about 4,000 years ago. Nobody really knows when it was formed. It was under a different format, different name at that time, but basically the same structure. And then in the 1800s, a Chinese musician, took the erhu and tweaked it a little bit. For instance, originally the erhu had silk strings, and now it has the typical metal strings that you'd find in the music store for guitars or violins or the such. So he used the same strings, the metal strings. He changed it to that. And then, as far as the erhu is concerned, this is the neck of the erhu that they call the neck. And then these here are the tuning pegs. And this is how you tune the erhu, the strings. The string D and the string A is tuned from here. You turn one way, turn the one way, and then the other way, and it tunes the erhu. This is the knot. It's a string that they use to put pressure on the strings. I think it's called like a chinquin, something along that line. And then I have two more strings here. Some have little tuning pieces that they put, but I prefer the strings. You slide it up and it fine tunes the erhu. It fine tunes the strings to D and to A. And then of course we have the bow. It's typically bamboo. And then the horse hairs is the hairs there. And then down here at the base we have the sound box. And then the sound comes out of the back of the erhu. As you can see, it's decorated here. And then the front is python skin, snake skin. And then here we have the bridge for the strings to go across. And then as you play, it vibrates the bridge, which vibrates the snake skin, which creates a sound to come out here. And then underneath it is a cloth. Some people use foam, and some use other types of fabric. And I use a cloth fabric for mine. And what the buffer, it's like a buffer. You put it under the strings, and when you play the strings, it limits wolf tones or some extra tones that the erhu would, or the strings would produce. So that's the erhu. Oh, and down here at the bottom is like a tray that the sound box fits into, so that you can rest it on your leg, and you typically play the erhu sitting down. You typically play it sitting down. They do make a belt hook where you can hook it on your belt and stand up and play the erhu, but typically it's played sitting down. Now the erhu has a mourning to it. When you play it, it's kind of has a mourn to it. When it was introduced to China, it was played by the poor, played by those who were in the streets and who were playing in the streets for their monetary gain or monetary support. They would play in the street, and then people would give them money for playing, and that's how they supported themselves. They were poor. They didn't have a whole lot, and so the tone to the erhu is kind of a mourning, and that explains that. So when they introduced it to China, that's who it was that kind of introduced it to China. And then when the musician tweaked it back in the 1800s, they began to use the erhu in their orchestra, and it became one of the main instruments for the Chinese orchestra. So here I'm going to play a little tune. I've already got it in the playlist that I have. I've already got it in the playlist. You can watch it there, or listen to it actually. So here we go. So thank you very much, and this here is the button for the previous video that I made of my introduction to my channel, and then this is the button for my playlist. You can go to my playlist and list it, and if you would, subscribe so that you can help me out. Thank you very much. Bye.